Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday, March 15th. What did you just... Oh, Chus is opening a drink on this Wednesday, March 15th. What? Oh, Mountain Dew Code Red. I almost grabbed a thrashed apple before we started, but I went with good old-fashioned water.
They still have thrashed apple?
Yeah, that's what I sent you a photo of earlier. I mean, okay, never mind.
I don't remember you saying that to me, but that's cool, though, I guess.
I'll go get some during the show.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm in my dining room in Indiana with the great lighting setup. I do like the lighting setup here better than the one in my dorm room. Chus is still in his basement in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And big news story. We're recording after the news story came out, but I was tweeting about it because it was exciting. I got a few quotes here. Aaron Rodgers usually goes on Pat McAfee's show on Tuesday, but he wasn't there on Tuesday, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, this man's just hiding something. Nope. He showed up today. Aaron Rodgers Wednesday. And apparently, Pat said, Aaron Rodgers texted him last night. He said, it's time to let the world know. And
he's such a...
And Pat was like, okay, do you want me to let the world know that you're coming tomorrow? He's like, yeah. So someone was paying attention to the first hour when the show first started. There was about an hour before Aaron was on. 100,000 people watching. Pretty decent. When Aaron was on, it peaked at around 300,000 people. So pretty much everyone in the NFL world was watching to see what Aaron Rodgers' decision was. And we found out, much to Stan the Jet fans' excitement, Aaron Rodgers is going to be a New York Jet. He said, my intention is to play, and it is to play for the New York Jets. Right now, it's the Packers holding things up, trying to get what they can for me, is what Aaron Rodgers said. He also said that he never spoke with Diana Ruzzini about the wish list. So he said he doesn't know where that came from. He said if she had texted him, he would have done what he told to Adam Schefter when Adam Schefter texted him out of the blue and said, lose my number, good try, though. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I'm guessing what Adam Schefter texted him asking him about it.
So, yeah, Adam Schefter got a hold of Aaron Rodgers' number without Aaron Rodgers knowing how he got his number. Adam texted him.
Yeah.
And Aaron said, lose my number, good try, though. Adam Schefter released that tweet, or that text. He released a screenshot of that text, so it did happen. A.J. Hawk knew for a week. He said since he thought last Tuesday, that Aaron was going to the Jets, and he said nothing.
He's awesome. AJ Hawk's great.
Dude, I love AJ Hawk, but that'd be so hard, man. And Pat was giving a hard. He's like, you knew this entire time? He goes, yep. The other thing with this that everyone's kind of pointing out is everyone's favorite number 2 overall pick, Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Back in January, he said, yeah, they can go. They'll go sign a veteran quarterback. I don't care. They can go sign a veteran quarterback. I'll hang out with that guy's mom, whoever he is. And then he said, I'm going to make that guy's life hell in practice. So Zach Wilson thought that he was going to be able to win the starting position back. What do you do now if you're Zach Wilson?
I would go cry on a corner. Just because, Zach Wilson, the thing with Zach Wilson is I don't really understand what was his entire intention behind it. It was just that he was going to really compete for the starting position.
Right.
He wasn't actually going to make, because I remember us talking about this a couple weeks ago. I think that it's kind of interesting because I really don't think that Zach Wilson can do a whole lot. I think he's just going to have to sit behind Aaron Rodgers and hope for the best because he's just going to have to develop.
And I thought so maybe Zach should text Jordan Love. I think that's what Zach should do. Zach needs to contact Jordan Love and needs to tell him that, hey, how do you sit behind Aaron Rodgers for all this time like I did? And Aaron said he really liked Jordan Love. He has always said good things about Jordan Love, even when they traded up to draft Jordan Love in 2020. Maybe Zach Wilson needs to figure out what it's like to sit behind Aaron Rodgers, to learn from Aaron Rodgers.
Perhaps, yeah.
That being said, they've already got his boy Alan Lazard over in New York. Alan Lazard is a New York Jet. He signed a deal for a 4-year, $44 million deal with the Jets per Jordan Schultz. So they've already got one of his supposed wish list guys over there. I think that's a big deal as well. Do you think that this makes the New York Jets a Super Bowl team?
What, just with Aaron Rodgers and Alan Lazard?
Aaron Rodgers, Alan Lazard, who they had last year. They had Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson.
I mean, they didn't make playoffs last year. I mean, I don't know how far off they were from making playoffs statistically. What was their record last year? It had to have been.
They were decent. They were in the running for a while. They weren't just a team that people laughed at like they usually. They were 7-10, which for the Jets is pretty good.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if they would be necessarily a Super Bowl contender, but I definitely think that they might be able to make a little bit of noise. I just think that the hype around it is just too much. I think the Jets may need a little bit more, but I don't really know what else they would need because, I mean, I guess it's hard for me to say because when I said that Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, I said, oh, they're not going to do anything, and they ended up winning a Super Bowl. When Matt Stafford got traded to LA, I was unsure about that too, and then he ended up doing good. So honestly, I think Aaron Rodgers is just going to cook. I don't know if they'll win a Super Bowl. I mean, eventually somebody's going to have to, eventually the cycle is going to have to break. So I don't know. I think they have the potential of being a really good team, but they're in such a tough division that it's going to be really hard to consider them a Super Bowl team when you're playing a really good Miami Dolphins, a pretty good New England Patriots, and still a relatively good Buffalo Bills team. So, I mean, anything can happen. Buffalo could be really bad. New England could do good all of a sudden. Or Miami could be 17-0. You just don't know. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. So,
well, speaking of Buffalo, they did get Jordan Poyer back. Jordan Poyer is a huge football IQ safety. He was a guy that I was hoping the Bengals would go after just because of how he's played in the past. He was in the free agent market for a little bit, checked it out, re-signed back with Buffalo. That's a big signing to me. I just got a notification as well, so I'm just going to throw this out there. Cowboys have informed former NFL rushing champ Ezekiel Elliott that they are releasing him. Per Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, he'll be designated as a post-June 1st release to create cap space.
Wow.
So cap casualty Ezekiel Elliott. And this is really interesting because they franchise tagged Tony Pollard.
Well, you kind of expected that whenever when they went out of their way to franchise tag Tony Pollard, you kind of figured that Ezekiel Elliott would be on his way out, but you just didn't know to what capacity, you know?
Well, I love Tony Pollard. I've never been the biggest Zeke guy. I'm sure he's he always seemed hurt. He was always up and down. I mean, he's not a bad player, but I was always kind of unsure about him because a lot of people were bandwagoning him back whenever I was in middle and early high school years and stuff. And everyone was like, oh, yeah, Zeke. And even with Saquon a little bit too. And I just always felt like those guys were a little bit I'm not saying that they're like not great running backs. I just felt like they were a little overrated at their time. Same with OBJ. I feel like it was just so much hype. It was just so much hype over like nothing. And That catch was good. That catch deserved him something.
But they gave him
I remember where I was when he made that catch.
Yeah, and they gave him a 99 overall in Madden because of it. He was nowhere near that good because of that one catch. It was a one-hand. It's so rare to do that, and I get that. But, George Pickens had plenty of one-handed catches. You go back and look at so many other Jamar Chase.
It was behind the back one-handed, though.
I get it. But it's not like he did it 3 times in his career. It was one time, and what did he do since? It was one of those
Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, after being released, and then went and he went from New York Giants to the Browns to LA. So it's not even like it's anything exciting. It wasn't like he was with the Giants forever and then they won a Super Bowl. So I always wasn't a huge guy on Zeke. I figured he was always really good when he was healthy, but he was hurt a lot. And I don't know if that was just because they were using him a lot because of, I don't know if that was just because they didn't have a lot of weapons at the time, but I feel like Dallas always had a pretty decent amount of weapons, even with Zeke. I just think Tony Pollard has just been playing better. And I don't think that's anything against Zeke. I just think he's been playing better. So, I think it might be time for them to move on to Zeke. Now, will Zeke go to another team? Absolutely. I think Zeke will definitely go to another team, and he might make some noise with somebody else. Who will it be? Why don't they go to the Bengals, Josh?
We don't want him. We don't want him.
I think Zeke would be great for the Bengals, honestly.
Why?
Oh, just
what
because.
What is your reasoning?
Because you guys, I know you were like Samaje Perine, but you were talking about how you want Austin Eckler and Derrick Henry. Well, Zeke's out there too. Why don't you get Zeke?
Yeah, but Zeke. So the thing with Zeke is, first of all, you talked about how he was overhyped. I remember everyone thought like he was the next Marshawn Lynch or something. His rookie year. His rookie year, his sophomore season. Everyone thought he was the next Marshawn Lynch. He was going to be a Hall of Famer, guaranteed, no problem. And like you said, he's a good player. He's a guy. Seems like a nice enough guy that I'd maybe sit and have a beer with him. I wouldn't really draft him in fantasy though, and that's.
I wouldn't. Yeah,
he's not. Okay. So JPA Football just tweeted out his stats: 10,598 total yards, 72 total touchdowns, 80.2 yards per game, 2-time rushing title, 3-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro. I don't think he can do that anymore, though. I don't think that's him.
How old is he now?
Well, he was a 2016 rookie. So
wow, yeah.
So he's been in the league 7 years. Mixon's been in the league since 2017. So we're not really getting an upgrade there. With Derrick Henry, I know Derrick Henry's been in the league since 2016 as well, but Derrick Henry hasn't really shown to fall off as much as Zeke has. So that's why I'd be more okay with Derrick Henry. I'm riding the Eckler train right now, though. I'm just we're choo. We re-signed our third-string running back, the Bengals did. We're getting rid of everyone for some reason as well, so that sucks. But players that the Bengals have cut so far, or not cut, but lost. Bates, who I thought was re-signing with us. So, Von Bell, who went to the Panthers. Hayden Hurst went to the Panthers, who I was not a fan of the Hayden Hurst signing at the beginning of the year. I wasn't. I was like, we lost Uzama. I was mad about it. Hurst played well for us. I liked him. He was a fun guy to watch. I wish him the best. He got 3 years. The Bengals were never going to give him 3 years because he's going to be over 30 by the end of his contract as a tight end. And then Samaje Perine's going to the Broncos. It just seems like a lot of key players from last season are on the move for the Bengals. Andy Dalton's with the Panthers now, too, from the Saints. So the Carolina Bengals are about to tear up the NFC South. Going to be an interesting division. Baker Mayfield's the new quarterback for the Buccaneers, it looks like.
But you said Perine moved?
Perine's with the Broncos now.
Oh wow, I didn't hear about that. I thought you guys were going to run with Perine.
We have Mixon, Travion Williams, and Chris Evans is our running back room. Our tight end room is Devin Asiasi.
Oh,
that's it. That's all we got. He was drafted by the Patriots in 2020. I think put on their practice squad and we picked him up or something like that. But that's all we've got is Devin Asiasi. I don't know what the Bengals are doing, if I'm being honest. I said something to you about, we're tanking. Yes.
Yeah, you texted me saying you guys were tanking, and I said, okay. I don't think you necessarily are tanking. I just think you guys are trying to make room for like some of the big signings that you guys are trying to make, which in the end, I don't know if it would necessarily help you more to sign these big players, because the thing with football compared to like a sport like hockey or even basketball, you need a lot of players to make a team be a Super Bowl contender, because it's more than just your starting offense. You need your line, you need all of your defense, you need your secondaries, you need your fourth, fifth, and sixth string wide receivers and second, third running backs, your backup quarterbacks. There's a lot there. Whereas like in like basketball and hockey, it's like you have 4 offensive lines. If you have 2 or 3 great players like Connor McDavid for Edmonton Oilers, you're going to be fine. Granted, come playoffs, you may not be the best, but all you need is like, I think 18 players and 2 goalies. Where in the NFL, you need 65 players, I think, I think it's a little less than 50.
It's a 53.
53, yeah. But like at the beginning, it's like 65, and you cut it down to a 53 plus your practice squad and stuff. So it's a lot of players. I mean, 53 is a lot compared to 18 and 2 goalies, or, it's like 10 players for an NBA team. I mean, baseball is pretty high up there too, because you have all those pitchers and stuff, but it's nowhere near as like the capacity of like an NFL's thing. So I think the Bengals really need to think about what they're doing. I'm not saying that they might be making bad moves, but in a situation like this where they're letting go a lot of their secondary, a lot of like key players, may not be the best thing unless they were expecting, a young guy to come in or something. Do you feel that the person replacing Jesse Bates as of right now would be good? I don't know who is behind Jesse Bates right now. Is he a second string? Do you guys even have a second string for him? Is he
So that's kind of the interesting thing. The storyline was always like Jesse Bates was franchise tagged last season. So it was kind of always theorized that we were going to keep Von Bell, Jesse Bates was going to walk, and Dax Hill, who was our first-round draft pick last year, was going to replace Jesse Bates. Now we don't have either starting safety. Dax Hill can obviously only replace one of them.
So you guys still need another safety.
Yeah, so now it's kind of like
you could get Jordan Battle.
Well, the thing is, I'd like to have at least one free agent, or not free agent, veteran safety back there.
I agree.
I think because Lou Anarumo, the defensive coordinator for the Bengals, does run a somewhat complicated defense, and that has been a strength of the team for a long time. Getting playoff P, Jermaine Pratt, back at $7 million a year is huge. Extending Logan Wilson, doing that, if hopefully that happens, I assume it will, that'll be huge. But safety is my primary concern right now. Tight end, I think, can be fixed in the draft. This is a very deep tight end class. I've done a couple mock drafts, and a guy I really like is Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame. He is great at blocking, great at passing. He's not as agile, maybe, as you'd like him to be. He's not going to be like your Travis Kelce type guy who is going for 60-some yards. But he can get the job done. He's a nice dump-off option, gets good yards after catch. So I think the Bengals can get him at 28. I think the Bengals can fill that tight end position. Running back also, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think we can maybe get him in the second round. So I'm not too worried about that position yet. I'm still riding the Eckler train, though. I really like Austin Eckler. So if we got that.
I mean, yeah, I do too. So, I mean, it's just funny that you're just still riding along with it.
The Eagles just let Darius Slay go, which that's a huge loss. But to me, that kind of indicates that they are trying to re-sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who is a guy that I would like for the Bengals to get at the safety position. Don't know if they will. Depends what the offers are. Depends what C.J. kind of sees with the Eagles. I mean, they've lost a lot of key players that were on that Super Bowl team.
Did you also see the Eagles they're trying to replace Miles Sanders with Rashad Penny?
Yeah. And so that
was key. I also didn't realize that they were letting Miles Sanders kind of walk either. That's big. I mean, Eagles are really losing some really big key pieces of their puzzle from last year. So makes you wonder how well the Eagles are going to be next year.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I think. If you're CJ Gardner-Johnson, you go, okay, yes, we went to the Super Bowl last year, but all of these guys who were on the team last year are spread across the country now. They're not on the team anymore.
Nope.
So do you think that the guys that you're bringing in can replace those guys who you let go? And a guy like Darius Slay is going to be very difficult to replace on defense. He's a very talented player. A lot of Eagles fans loved him. I just think it's very interesting to see what the Eagles are doing, see what the Bengals are doing, because it's really a trust in your key guys. So for the Eagles, like Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and then your guys on defense as well. But for the Bengals, it's Joe Burrow, Logan Wilson, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. And I texted Andrew Gillis of Cleveland.com, who has been on the show before. His show episodes are on the YouTube channel under the Friends of the Show playlist. But it was before we did video, so it's just a little picture of the logo. But I texted him. I was like, are you hearing any credible rumors about anything the Bengals are looking at? He said, hard to say for now. Always kind of seemed like they'd be real low-key in free agency. He said, I asked him, any idea what the draft is going to look like? Like, do you know who they're targeting, basically? He said, depends on free agency.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's tough, though. It's one of those things where, with Andrew, I feel like in his sense, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell what they will do in the draft because it really depends on what they do in free agency. And right now they're being low key in free agency. It's like really, it's kind of one of those things where it's like for like any team, you expect, this team to go after, this guy, like, I mean, the Steelers were expected to go after a cornerback, and then we got, Patrick Peterson, and it may be a situation where we might still get one, but we might not get one until maybe a second or third round, or maybe we're going to focus more on linemen. Like, it's one of those things where it really depends on what you do in free agency before you can make any draft choices. So, I mean, Andrew does have a point. I mean, I know you're trying to see if he had even just a little bit of information, but he's probably just as much in the dark as everybody else.
Yeah, it really seemed, because I asked him, I was just like, okay, I'm going to ask you the one question that every single Bengals fan wants to know right now. So I don't know if you have an answer. Is there any indication that there is a re-signing on Burrow, Higgins, or Wilson? The big three 2020 rookies or 2020 draft picks. His response was, oh, that's probably the most secret of all. No one knows.
Probably.
No,
Yeah.
but so we're all sitting here hoping they're getting something done. Higgins was out on a boat with Jamar Chase and what it looked like D-Hop and a couple women. That became a news story for some reason.
Always does.
The headline was literally Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on boat with women. And I was like, so I retweeted and I said, Josh Butts in kitchen working on thesis paper.
Yeah, it was sucked. Yeah.
There was no story. It was just that.
They're running out of things to talk about, honestly. I mean, it is off season, but like you could be talking about anything else. Why is that news?
Right.
That can't possibly be news.
There's so much other stuff going on right now. Aaron Rodgers is...
Yeah, did you hear Matt Gay went to the Colts? Nobody's talking about Matt Gay going to the Colts.
He's the highest paid kicker of all time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The Colts were like, we're releasing Matt Ryan, and we're going to make the
better Matt Joy.
We're going to make Matt Gay the highest paid kicker of all time.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
And mind you, they had Vinatieri. They had Vinatieri at some point. He was a Hall of Fame kicker, and they didn't even make him the highest paid kicker of all time.
Nah. They're the Matt Gay, baby. Here we go. It was ridiculous. But, like, yeah, I mean, there's so many other news stories you could be talking about other than Jamar Chase, D-Hop, and T on a boat with women. I feel like that's just so stupid. Like, you could have been – oh, my gosh.
Everyone's all of a sudden talking about Eli Apple. I don't know why. Did we just re-sign Eli Apple? I don't know what's going on.
Oh, my
I wouldn't be super mad about it. Okay. Anyway. Oh, Jamal Williams is another running back I think the Bengals should go after, just for the meme.
Yeah, because he's a free agent right now, right?
Yeah, and a touchdown machine. And the Lions took David Montgomery from the Bears, so it's kind of seeming like they're moving on from Jamal Williams.
Probably.
Bengals, Bills, and Panthers are all in the running for Jamal Williams, according to sources. It's looking like Eli Apple may have been re-signed.
Cowboys. Did you get the actual alert that Cowboys actually released Ezekiel Elliott?
Yeah,
I mean,
reported it, man.
I know, but you talked about it, but I didn't know if but it's like almost official.
Oh no, dude! I beat that ESPN thing. I've
But
got
like when you talked about it, you're like they're expecting to release before June 1st. But my thing it says I read something that says that they released them today. So
he's going to be designated a post June 1st cut. But let's see here. What
did you talk about? We didn't talk about. There's a lot of things we didn't talk about. You know, Cowboys acquired Stephon Gilmore. Giants acquired Darren Waller. Falcons signed Tyler.
Oh, yes. Did you see that trade? Did you see that Darren Waller trade?
I didn't look too deep into it, but I saw it happen, obviously.
There's not a lot to it.
It's just a third-round pick? Wow.
Yeah,
stellar.
I think the Giants kind of robbed the Cowboys on that one.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad because I really thought that with Jimmy Garoppolo, I talked about this earlier in the week, I think even on Monday, with Jimmy Garoppolo going to the Raiders, I thought Jimmy G was going to go to like a very similar type of football offense that he had in San Francisco, with decent wide receivers, a really good running back, and then a pretty stud tight end. Well, now he doesn't have that stud tight end. It's probably, I don't even know who the heck's going to be the Raiders tight end. So
I thought, you probably didn't see this tweet because you're not on Twitter a lot.
No.
Kelsey Plum, she's a WNBA player. She has just got married to Darren Waller. And they got married in Vegas. They were living in Vegas, obviously. And it was tweeted like, wow, this sucks, like the joke was by Robert Griffin III, Josh McDaniels isn't a romantic. And Kelsey Plum responded to that tweet and said, probably because he wasn't invited to the wedding.
Oh.
Boom. Yeah, so Josh McDaniels he was like, I'm sending you to the other side of the country. We don't need you here anymore, I guess. Very surprising. I don't know what they're doing in Las Vegas. The Giants fans were ecstatic.
Yeah, I mean, it's something you're not expecting. I mean, like the Giants had a pretty good season this year. I mean, after all, they upset the Vikings and then they moved on to the divisional. I mean, it's a pretty dang good season in my opinion. But like, it's one of those things where now you add a key asset like that. You just re-signed Daniel Jones, who had a pretty good season this year, and you're having a lot of these key players return. It's one of those things where adding Darren Waller might be one of those things that might just put you above maybe the Eagles even this year. You don't really know how a lot of these teams are going to do with like the acquisitions and the drops that they're making. And the Giants could be a little bit of a under the radar type team this year. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Well, also the pick the Giants gave away for Darren Waller was a compensation pick for losing Kadarius Toney.
Oh, yeah.
So essentially what the Giants did was traded Kadarius Toney for Darren Waller, which I think is a beautiful trade. Unless the Raiders somehow draft the best tight end ever known to man with, I think it's pick 100, with pick 100 and are able to replace Darren Waller easily. You'd have to draft a Gronk or something. And I don't think that's going to happen.
You would have to hope that would happen. And it's one of those things where tight ends, they're starting to develop a little bit more. I mean, we're noticing a lot more like stud tight ends in the league, as we've talked about on the show. But it's one of those things where it's still hard to find them in the draft. I mean, it's hard to find any type of player in the draft. You just kind of have to hope that it works out because, I mean, there's been quarterbacks that have gone like really high overall that we've seen that just don't do anything at all. And it goes to the same thing for wide receivers, tight ends. I mean, you know, you talk about quarterbacks all the time. You got friggin' Mitchell Trubisky. You got what was the other one? He was Atlanta or not Atlanta's. He was the Cardinals before Kyler Murray. I don't
Carson
remember.
Palmer?
No, the guy in between Carson Palmer.
Colt McCoy was there.
No, there was a guy before.
Josh Rosen.
Yeah, DeRozan. I'm pretty sure he was a top pick. I'm pretty sure.
Dude, free agent, NFL Hall of Famer Josh Rosen, Mister. There were 9 mistakes ahead of me.
He was
when he was 2018 drafted 10th overall, I believe, and he said there's 9 mistakes ahead of me.
Yeah, that included overall. Yeah, I thought he was a top pick. I mean, like you look at picks like this, and they're just kind of like busts. Like that, Rosen was literally like one of the craziest busts I've seen. I mean, I've seen some busts though, but dang, that it's one of those things where he was in the league and then he just wasn't. Like he was there and then he was just gone. And I was like, oh, okay.
One of my favorite clips, and I think it's Skip Bayless. It might not be Skip Bayless. It's some talking head on ESPN, but they're like, Josh Allen, no one's even heard of this guy, Josh Allen. Why are you drafting Josh Allen? Why aren't you going after Baker Mayfield or one of these guys? Why aren't you trading up? And he's yelling at the Bills for being like the stupid poverty franchise. And he's like, 5 years from now, we're going to be talking about 2 guys from this draft, Baker Mayfield and Josh Rosen. And we're still talking about Baker Mayfield. I'll give him that. Not usually in a great light, though. But we're definitely not talking about Josh Rosen as some star player. It's Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are the 2 best QBs out of that draft.
Yeah.
Oh, Sam Darnold was also in there as a guy that we're definitely going to be talking about, and he's over in San Francisco now, backing up Brock Purdy, maybe.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Sam Darnold's over in San Francisco now, which I think is a very interesting move with San Francisco. I mean, I didn't really think that they would go after Sam Darnold, to be completely honest. But, I mean, I guess more power to them, I guess. I mean, they're going to probably just put Brock Purdy in front of him because they already kind of announced, like, at the NFC Championship that they would what is this?
53 quarterbacks. That's what the 49ers are going with now.
53 quarterbacks. Yeah, they
lost the NFC Championship because all their quarterbacks got hurt. They're saying we're just loading up the roster with quarterbacks. If you are an NFL free agent and you have thrown a ball, come on down to San Francisco.
Pretty much. I mean, probably if we look at their practice squad this year, they're probably going to have 3 people. They're probably going to have 3 quarterbacks in their depth chart, and then they're going to have like 4 more in the freaking practice squad that are just waiting.
It's going to be like Brock Purdy as the starter, Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick's coming back.
Yeah, it's just going to be the most random. Yeah, might as well throw Tom Brady in the practice squad. Phillip Rivers.
Joe Montana. Put Joe Montana in there.
Drew Brees. Just get all these old heads. Johnny Manziel. That would be a really good. Paxton Lynch. Sure. Paxton Lynch will come back too. Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Well, Paxton Lynch is in the XFL, isn't he?
Yeah, but he already got benched, so he might ask for. He might demand release. So,
fair enough.
So maybe he'll get a better spot on the practice squad once the XFL's over.
John Lynch, get on this.
We got to make this. San Francisco.
That would be awesome.
But just seeing all these ridiculous players on with the quarterback thing, or
like Brock Purdy throwing a pass to Drew Brees.
Oh yeah, that'd be so dumb.
An all quarterback team.
That would actually be ridiculous. Tom Brady running routes. It's like, all right, Tom Brady, you're going to run a fade. Homie can barely scramble. Another one. Ben Roethlisberger, towards the end of his season, he was running like a tree. Like
he's our center.
Oh, he's the center? Okay.
He's the center.
I was going to say, imagine him running fades. I was just like running straight down the field as a.
Ezekiel Elliott could go play center for a team.
I guess. Wait, why? Why would you have Ezekiel Elliott?
That play.
Oh, that.
Was it the dude?
No, that was stupid. No,
that was the.
Didn't he get bulldozed? Yeah, no, don't put him on.
Who did they line
center.
him up across? They lined him up
know.
across from someone that was like just insanely huge.
No, yeah, it was
my favorite part about that was Pat McAfee immediately tweeting, "Yes, we no longer have the dumbest play in NFL history," referring to the Colts punter play against the Patriots. So, yeah, I mean, hey, maybe Ezekiel Elliott's got a future at the center position if he can't play running back as much anymore.
I think he has. Honestly, yeah, sure. Honestly, I'd rather just see Trey Burton come back and play quarterback at that point. So I would rather, I'd rather see Trey Burton after that great Philly special. Back in 2018, one throw, great play. Trey Burton throws called.
I think it's interesting that. Ooh, I just got a news update.
Okay.
News update. So first of all, I think it's interesting. Well, I'll do the news first. Free agent quarterback Jacoby Brissett has agreed to a deal with the Washington Commanders.
No way.
Kamikaze Commander Carson is out of there. Taylor Heineke's out of there. Sam Howell was going to be the starting quarterback week 1. That's what we heard. That's what everyone was saying. But Ron Rivera at the Combine, he said he might be starting week 1, but he is not our starting quarterback. And that is because they were going to go out and get a veteran quarterback. Who did they get? Jacoby Brissett, who, Jacoby's been kind of everywhere. He's been the Dolphins. He's been the Colts. He's been a handful of other teams. Played with the Browns most recently last season while Deshaun Watson was suspended. And I thought he did pretty good. I thought that there were a lot of people who were saying, like, guys, no, keep Jacoby in because we can maybe kind of make a playoff run if everyone else in the AFC North decides to suck. Jacoby Brissett played decent, though, and he obviously got benched because Deshaun Watson was extremely overpaid, and the Browns weren't just going to be like, whatever, sit on the bench, $250 million guaranteed. Jacoby Brissett is likely the new starting quarterback for the Washington Commanders. What do you think?
Ooh. It's going to be interesting, honestly. I mean, I think that I definitely think Jacoby Brissett's going to start. I definitely think he's going to start. I mean, they already I remember you sending me something, and I think they said that Washington said that Sam Howell was not their guy. So I think that's pretty big. But honestly, I think that there's something wrong with Washington right now. I mean, obviously they're not letting Sam Howell cook. So it just really makes me upset. I mean, I feel like, honestly, I don't like to bring it back for no reason, but just like the idea of just letting somebody cook is going to be like evident in Washington at this point, because I feel like Sam Howell is going to be the backup, and then they're going to have Jacoby Brissett in, and then I feel like Jacoby Brissett's going to be okay. The Commanders fans are going to be like, just put in Sam Howell already. Like he was supposed to go top overall anyway. They're going to put him in, and he might do okay, but then Washington might just be like, oh, we're going to pull him out. I feel like that this is just a big issue right now is like all these freaking teams just aren't letting anybody cook. Just let it happen. Just let it happen. Like Indianapolis was doing that. The Jets were doing that this season. It's probably going to be Washington this season.
Washington did it a little bit too last season.
Yeah, they did.
They had Carson, then they had Taylor, then they had what's his name? Sam Howell.
Sam Howell. Yeah.
And
I was just talking about him, and I'm like, that other dude.
You're right. It doesn't work. I hate it because then you don't get team chemistry built. It doesn't work. Fans get confused. Teams get confused. Players get upset. Locker rooms get divided. It's not good. I understand, though, wanting to bring in a guy who can challenge Sam Howell for the starting position now. I understand them not wanting to give Sam Howell the keys to the stadium when he's only played 1 or 2 games. That I get. But I think after preseason, after you've seen both these guys play in your offense, you've got to say, this is our guy, and this is who we're riding with, unless this guy gets hurt or it's just abundantly clear that he is incapable of playing in this offense. So if Jacoby Brissett starts going like 10 for 30 for 150 yards every game, that's one thing. Or if Sam Howell does that, if Sam Howell ends up winning the starting position. But if they're both playing about the same and you're just plugging and placing randomly which quarterback is going in, that's not going to work. You let somebody cook. I've got the sticker coming in the mail. It's actually in the mail. I just haven't been at school to get it. Speaking of quarterbacks, as of 6 minutes ago, Eastern Standard Time, Lamar Jackson is now officially able to talk with other teams about a deal. So,
was he not able to because of the non-exclusive deal, or what was going on with? Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So 4 minutes or 6 minutes ago, so the Ravens will have the opportunity to match any offer, and if Lamar Jackson likes the offer that another team gives him, Ravens don't want to match it. Ravens will get 2 first-round draft picks from that team, or something else that equals it that they agree to. But it's usually 2 first-round draft picks. So that's going to be a big story now that we know where Aaron Rodgers is. That's probably the biggest story of the season that we'll be following now. I'm going to keep an eye on Twitter. Real quick. Aaron Rodgers. And this is what I was going to before the Jacoby Brissett news broke. Jordan Love has a ton of weight on his shoulders as far as history of the franchise is concerned. He has 30 years of Hall of Fame quarterbacking that he has to live up to now. And Aaron Rodgers,
go ahead.
Aaron Rodgers said on Pat McAfee's show, "I'm debatably the best player in franchise history. What's not debatable is I'm the longest tenured Packer in history. Nobody's bled green and gold like me." And so to follow a guy like that, I mean, Jordan Love isn't much older than us.
No.
I know I would feel a ton of pressure if I was following Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers is following Brett Favre. That's a ton of pressure, I think. And, I mean, Brett Favre isn't great. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers doesn't follow Brett Favre all the way, but...
I mean, it's interesting because, I feel like a lot of quarterbacks have to feel that way because you think about all the players. There's a lot of teams that obviously haven't had a franchise quarterback almost ever. I feel like Cincinnati, for example, Joe Burrow has been probably one of the best things to happen to Cincinnati, for example. But you think about some of these other teams, even Pittsburgh, for example. Ben Roethlisberger was black and yellow for his entire career. And then this past season, Mitchell Trubisky played a couple games, got booed out of the stadium. And then Kenny Pickett had to fill the shoes of the future of the Steelers franchise. Granted, he wasn't behind Ben ever because Ben retired and then they drafted Pickett. Like Jordan Love, they drafted him and they let him develop behind Aaron Rodgers. This situation is a little different, obviously, but I feel like it's very similar in a lot of these quarterback situations because I feel like a lot of these quarterbacks that have to fill in after the big guy leaves is very big because, I feel like it's kind of stressful. I'm sure after Tom Brady left, granted you had from New England when he left, granted Mac Jones didn't start right away. You had Cam Newton starting that season, but I'm sure there was just even Cam Newton was you have to fill in for Tom Brady. For a New England Patriots team that hasn't made it to the freaking playoffs in 15 years or something crazy. I don't remember the insane stat that they had, but I feel like there's just a lot of pressure as a young quarterback, especially a young quarterback that's filling in for a veteran that had so much success. And I feel like Jordan Love will definitely feel the pressure going into Green Bay because if he starts doing bad at any point in the season, they're going to literally call to bench him. Because that's just how it is. Or Green Bay fans will be good and, just kind of just let him do his thing, which might end up being the thing because I don't think they're going to have anybody to back up Jordan Love that's going to be key. Maybe they'll bring Gardner Minshew in. Maybe that'll be big. Maybe bring in a nice backup quarterback for him to just kind of them to fall back on in the event that Jordan Love doesn't do that great. But the quarterback market that we originally had is starting to slightly dwindle here and there. I mean, there's not a lot of key backups that you could get. I mean, Taylor Heineke's gone. Is Teddy Bridgewater, did he sign yet? I don't remember if us ever. So Teddy Bridgewater might be a good move for him. But I mean, like Jimmy Garoppolo, Sam Darnold. There's a lot of these quarterbacks that have been, picked up already. So it's definitely going to be key to see what they do in Green Bay. But I don't know. I feel like Aaron Rodgers, though, he's a goofy guy, man. I feel like he's a little goof. The way that he came out of the way that he said it was just like, I came out of the darkness, it was just so weird. Like he went to his
darkness retreat.
It was just weird. I don't know. I just feel like it's goofy. I mean, I'm nothing against him. That doesn't take away from his career, but it's just goofy.
It was doing a Bane impression. Darkness was his ally. So you mentioned the Steelers with Kenny Pickett, and I feel like that would be the same thing if you'd gone from Terry Bradshaw to Ben Roethlisberger to Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
But you didn't. They went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to a lot of Packers fans have never known a Packers team without a Hall of Fame level quarterback.
Yeah. So it's probably going to be a
huge.
lot. Yeah. I mean, because after Bradshaw, we had like that weird year where we had Neil O'Donnell and we had Cordell Stewart and some other.
Well, Bradshaw, you had Mark Malone, David Woodley, Bubby Brister.
Well, yeah, and then I was just talking about the '90s. Neil O'Donnell took us to that one Super Bowl, and then Cordell Stewart was there for a couple years, and it was just really weird, and it's just a weird time. But and then we had Ben, and then now we have Kenny Pickett. Where I don't know. I feel like though I do feel like at some points though teams do get a little greedy though once they have a lot of success. So I feel like for Green Bay, it's going to be tough. And just like even with New England, I feel like it's tough for them a little bit because they had so much success with Tom Brady for almost 20 some seasons, maybe even a little bit less. I don't remember how many seasons he exactly played, but he played a lot and they did a lot of success in New England. So I'm sure in the last 3 years, only making playoffs once, I think is tough for them, considering they didn't make it with Cam Newton. They didn't make it this past season. And I think they did make it in 2021, maybe.
They went to the wild card.
Yeah, so I mean, it's better than nothing, I guess. But still, it's one of those things where I'm sure New England fans over in the East Side are probably not the happiest of individuals right now. But
Zappy Hour, in New England.
Now, there's a lot of weird things that could happen this season. I mean, it's all unfolding before our eyes, and it's one of those things where we have to definitely wait and see. Definitely have to wait and see what happens.
So, speaking of the New England Patriots, I don't know if you set this up on purpose, but it's a perfect segue. Your boy, Juju Smith-Schuster, is now a New England Patriot. 3-year, $33 million deal. That's exactly what Jacoby Myers got from the Raiders. So it kind of is looking like they just replaced Jacoby with Juju. I texted you, Juju's a Pat now, and you said, L, Juju, what did you mean and why? And I don't know what you mean. I told you to wait.
I literally just said it was L for Juju just because Juju just went to the Patriots, and I'm not a huge Patriots fan. That's really it. But I think the problem is, though, with Juju is you hear a lot of things about Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick is not an easy coach. He's one of those coaches that's very tough, and he's going to put you to work, and he doesn't care what kind of person you are. He's there to win Super Bowls. He's a relatively good guy, but he's not the nicest guy when it comes to things. And I think for Juju, this actually might be a big part for his career because I feel like Juju needs to be put in line. So I think Juju. He wouldn't shut up about that.
I'm surprised that's coming from you. That's actually something I'd say.
No, but I think he needs to be put in line. Really, he was a good player with Pittsburgh, but then he started getting weird with his TikTok videos, dancing on the logos, and then he got hurt for the whole season. Then he went to Kansas City, and then that one player held him, and then he wouldn't shut up about it. And then next thing you know, it was the Valentine's Day thing or whatever, and it was I'll hold you even when it I'll hold you when it means the most or something like that. It was like right after the Super Bowl and everybody was talking about it. And then the Eagle player that held him like tweeted back at him and just was like, I'm happy for you, but you're just like you were nothing without Mahomes and stuff. And I think, I loved Juju when he was here. Like I said, he went to my prom. Like there's a lot of things that he did, like that post that you see all the time. That was my prom. Like that was, my school that I went to. I graduated from that high school. Like it's one of those things where he did a lot for Pittsburgh when he was here, but when he was on his way out, his ego started getting a little filled. And I think he just needs to settle down a little bit. And I think maybe Bill Belichick might just let him calm down a little bit. And I hope for the best because he's a really good guy and he did a lot for Pittsburgh and he did a lot for the community and stuff. But then it almost felt like after back in 2020 when he started dancing on logos and he got really big into TikTok, he needs to go back to the Juju's bike thing. He was so humble. He was riding his bike to work, his bike to training camp and stuff like that. He was just riding his bike. He didn't have a car.
Someone stole his bike.
Somebody stole it and they gave it back to him. And it's one of those things where it's we need to go back to that Juju where he was humble. He was happy for what he was. And a lot of players, I feel I don't know if I just feel like a lot of these players, they get really cocky and they just get really upset. We need more players that are just more humble. And I think, even with when we were talking about Henry Ruggs, I feel like he got way too ahead of himself. He got a rookie contract, bought a big expensive car, started driving 110 miles an hour, and now he's in jail because he killed somebody. Or it did something. He damaged. I don't remember if
he killed someone. He killed a lady and her dog.
Yeah, I remember it was the dog, but I didn't know if the lady also died or not.
I believe the lady also died.
But it's one of those things where it's just I feel like some of these players need to be put into straighten up a little bit. And I think one of the things that could happen for Juju is before Juju goes any more towards a bad side of things. I think that him going to be working with Bill Belichick for 3 years might be really good for his career, and maybe he'll never develop to be like a superstar. He's getting kind of older, but maybe he'll at least be in better mental health and not be so ego filled because it's one Super Bowl. He was, he wasn't a big key a part of it. He did have some good plays, but I think that he needs to settle down a little bit. I think it'll be good for his career.
Yeah, he didn't have a great season with the Chiefs. He had 988 yards, I think, with the Chiefs, which
is not bad. It's a little under.
It's not terrible. It's average. He also played. I thought he played very well in the Super Bowl. I thought he was a pretty key component. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are the heart of that offense, but I think Juju opened up a lot of openings for guys like Sky Moore to get open. And so Juju being there, I think, was a key component. I'm not a huge fan of Juju. Obviously, one of my favorite plays was when Von Bell, Carolina Panthers safety, former Bengals safety, popped Juju on that Ryan Finley-led Bengals game against the Steelers in 2020, and the Bengals ended up beating the Steelers because of that. That was a great play because A, it was on Juju, and B, we won primarily because of that play. That's held as a turning point in franchise history.
Didn't know it was that big of a deal.
Oh, dude, that play when Von Bell was released all over Twitter, it was just the video of Von Bell popping Juju. It was a huge deal.
I was gonna say my favorite was when you guys had Vontez Perfect and you guys were dirty, and then Juju hit Vontez Perfect. So I really like that. I really like that. Back when the Bengals organization didn't know what to do, so they would just draft a bunch of dirty players.
Do you think Bill Belichick will get tired of Juju being on TikTok and will just say dude, if you're on TikTok anymore, you're getting benched? Maybe.
I feel like Belichick doesn't play around. I feel like he's definitely the type of guy to be like, stop it. I'll put anybody else in instead of you. And even if he doesn't have anybody else, he'll just pick up somebody off waivers or something. He'll just be like, oh, this guy's free. We're going to play him. And Juju's going to be like, oh, crap. What am I going to do? And he's going to be like, Corvette. And going to go back to his 2021 ways and start dancing or whatever. I I don't know though. I mean, I feel like Juju will still do TikToks and stuff, but I think he might. I think his ego is definitely going to shrink a little bit. I definitely think it's going to be different. He needs more of like a. He needs to go back and be thankful for what he has, because he has a lot more than a lot of players do, and he has such a high chance to be good, and he won a Super Bowl, and there's a lot of players that never got that are Hall of Famers, and it's one of those things where he should just be happy with what he gets, and he shouldn't be just so cocky about it. And I'm hoping he'll be settled down a little bit by Bill Belichick, and I think he will be. And I'm hoping that he'll go back to his old Pittsburgh roots and just be a good guy and start going to proms again and be a community dude. So,
well, we shall see. I'm just
all love for you, Juju. Just please calm down a little bit.
I'm just gonna check Twitter real quick, make sure there aren't any more huge signings. That's not really. I did forget. Rasul Douglas apparently has Aaron Rodgers' phone right now, and he's had it for like a whole week. And Rasul Douglas has kind of won a fan in me just because he's like tweeting on Aaron Rodgers' Twitter and stuff. It's great. But that's it. Rodgers is in revenge mode. He's ready. He's gonna go prove the haters wrong. He hates the media. I don't hate Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people do hate Aaron Rodgers, but I hope Aaron and I can be friends one day. But
I feel like me and you. I feel like I cause a lot of problems. I feel like you're not going to be able to be friends with any of these people.
I'm never going to have a friend in the NFL because of Chus.
Hey, you know what? I was just thinking about this. I'm going to send you this picture too, but now that Juju's a Patriot now, is this photo going to be relevant ever again? This is
Juju with?
It's a Juju with a Patriots fan, and he has like his middle finger up.
Oh,
so I was just thinking about that. He did that when
that'd be you.
What?
That'd be you. You would meet like Jamar Chase or something, and you'd be like, "Fuck you, Jamar."
No, I wouldn't do that.
F you, Jamar. That'd be you.
I would not do that.
You'd have your middle finger up in the photo.
I would not have my middle finger up
because you're toxic. Yes,
I like Jamar Chase. I mean, I don't like that he plays for I don't like the Bengals team. That doesn't mean I don't like some of the players from. Like, I love Joe Burrow. I think he's so funny. But I'm not gonna. If I met Joe Burrow, I'm not gonna stick up my middle finger in the freaking picture with him. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I met Joe Burrow. This is cool. And
damn straight you won't. You better not.
No, he's a good guy, and a lot of these players are good guys. Some of them, I send you the picture just so you can see it better.
I just got it.
So, but
that's a good place to end.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to today's show. If you enjoyed, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And people have been watching, and we've hit 150 hours on YouTube, which is kind of mind-boggling to me. But they haven't been subscribing. So make sure you subscribe because it helps us out. It helps you know when we post something so you don't miss anything. We can be found anywhere you listen to podcasts and on YouTube at No Butts Show. Our social media pages are NoButts_show on Instagram and No Butts Show on TikTok. My Twitter is Josh_Butts_2001. That has also been super active during free agency. I'm tweeting like crazy. I'm basically living on Twitter right now. And if you would like to reach us, you can email us at bullmoosepodcast2. That's the number 2 at gmail.com. Hope everyone has a great rest of their week and go do something nice for someone.